All right, so let's have a look at example 7. This says a class of 44 students participated in a mathematics speed challenge. The time in second each student took to solve a problem is recorded below. So in this scenario, um, remember with statistics, you're doing data analysis. And the data in this question is the amount of time students took to solve um, a math problem. There are 44 students. So, and each student would basically give you a piece of data. So in total, there should be 44 pieces of data. So N, which we should know by now, is equal to the sum of the frequency, which should be equal to 44. There are 44 pieces of data. If I add up the frequency, I should get 44. Now, the frequency is the same as the number of students. All right. There are 44 students. There are 44 pieces of data. Now, the first thing we're asked to do is to calculate an estimate of the mean time taken by a student to complete the challenge. All right, now under group data, if you're asked to find mean, the mean x bar is equal to the sum of fx divided by n. That's the mean. Now, fx now, f is the frequency, x is the class midpoint. So I need class midpoint. So I'm going to put in a column, class midpoint. Now, to get the class midpoint, I'm going to add the lower limit and the upper limit and divide it by 2. Remember, these values are my lower class limit, and the values over here are the upper class limit. So I'm going to add the lower limit and the upper limit and divide by 2. So it's 50 plus 54 divided by 2. This is 104 over 2. This is 52. Next, we have 55 plus 59 over 2. This is 114 over 2. This is 57. The third one, 60 plus 64 over 2. This is 124 over 2. This is 62. Now, by the third one, you don't need to repeat this calculation, because by the third one, you should observe that the class midpoint is going up by a fixed number. And in this case, the fixed number is 5. So the next one is 67, and then 72, then 77, and then 82. Those are my class midpoint values. Now, next I need fx. Now, fx stands for frequency times class midpoint. Let me just put C MP, class midpoint. So it's going to be frequency 3 times 52. 2 times 57. 6 times 62. 13 times 67. 10 times 72, 9 times 99, sorry, 77, and 1 times 82, which is 82. All right, let's work out the others. We have 9 times 77. This is 693. This is 720. Now, 13 times 67. This is 871. This is 124. No, that's not true. This is 372, I think. So this is 6 times 62, 372. This is 114. 3 times 52, supposed to be what, 156? So let's add up all of them to get the sum of fx. So I have 156 plus 114 plus 372 plus 871 plus 720 plus 693 plus 82. So this is 3008. It's important that you understand what does this number represent. This is actually 3008, and it's actually 3008 seconds, because the sum of fx in this case is an estimate of the total number of time or it's an estimate of the sum of the time taken by all 44 students. All right, the sum of fx is an estimate of the total number of seconds taken. It's an estimate of the sum of the total amount of time the 42 students spend working the question. So in a sense, I'm adding the time for all 44 students. The sum of fx is an estimate of that. So for example, if 3 students each took 52 seconds, that is a total of 156 seconds. That's what it means. So the sum of fx is 3008 divided by the number of students, which is 44. So the mean or the average time is 3008 divided by 44. This says 68.4 seconds. So this is 68.4 seconds. So the average student in the class took 68.4 seconds to solve the mathematics challenge. Next, we're told that to qualify for the next round of the challenge, a student must complete the challenge in less than 60 seconds. What is the probability that a student from the class will qualify for the next round? So the probability of qualifying is the same as the probability that your score is going to be more than 60. Sorry, your time is going to be less than 60. So first, let us look and see how many persons time less than 60. It's only 5 persons, these 5 persons. They are the only persons who took less than 60 seconds to complete the challenge. So the probability of qualifying is 5 out of 44. That's the probability, but I also like to write it as a decimal and as a percentage. So 5 divided by 44. This is 11, 0.11, 0.11, or 11%. So there's an 11% chance that a student from this class would qualify for the next round of the challenge. So next we're told, using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 5 seconds on the horizontal axis, and a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1 student on the vertical axis, we're to draw a frequency polygon to represent the data. So we're going to draw a frequency polygon. Let's prepare our graph sheet. I did not do this very well. This cumulative frequency curve thing should have been a little bit more down. All right, I'm going to try and see if I can mitigate against that. So this is my horizontal axis. All right. I'm going to put my vertical axis here. This is my vertical axis. All right. Now the scale is 2 centimeters to 5 units. All right. Well, I already know that if we start from 0 on the horizontal axis, it's not going to hold. And notice that the first values actually start from 50. Notice, so it wouldn't make any sense to start from 0 on the horizontal axis when the first value is actually 50. So this is what I would do. I would put in a little thing like this. A little zigzag thing like that, which sort of like suggests that there was a break in the graph, and I would start at 45. 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 50, because it's 2 centimeters to 5 units. Then what? 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. So down here is the class midpoint. And it's actually time in seconds. It's time in seconds. Over here, the scale is 1 centimeter to 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Every centimeter, the number goes up by 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think I need for it to reach as high as 13. Over here, it's frequency. And frequency is actually the number of students. All right. Everybody should be aware by now that on the horizontal axis, each of the very small 2 millimeter division is representing 0.5. So the points I'm going to plot are the class midpoint and the frequency. So these are the points we're going to plot: class midpoint and the frequency. So my points would be like 52.3, 57.2, 62, 6, 67, 13. These are the points I'm going to plot to draw my frequency polygon. 72, 10, 77, 9, and 81, 1. Sorry, 82, 1. This is class midpoint, and this is frequency. So 52, and then we have 3, 2, 6. So we have 52, 3, 52, 3. All right, then we have 57, 62, 66. So let's plot these points. All right, no, not 66, 67. Let's plot these points. We're drawing our frequency polygon. 52, 52, 3, 50, 50.5, 51, 51.5, 52, 3, that puts me here. That's 52, 3. Next, 57, 2. This is 55, 55.5, 56, 56.5, 57, 1, 2. That puts me here. Then 62, 6, 60, 60.1, 61. Sorry, 60, 60.5, 61, 61.5, 62, and 62 corresponds to 6. That would put me here. 60, sorry, wrong place. That actually should be here. Next, we have 67, 13, 65, 65.5, 66, 66.5, 67, and this goes all the way up to 13. That will put me here. All right, then the next points are what? Sorry, wrong direction. 10, 9, and 1. 10, 9, and 1. So we have what? 72, 10, 77, 9, and 82, 1. So 72, 10, 72, 10, that would put me here. Then 77, 9, that would put me here. And 82, 1. Is it 1? Yep, 82, 1. 82, 1. That would put me here. So we have all the points now necessary to draw our frequency polygon. So all we have to do now is use our ruler and connect the points in order. So using your ruler, connect the points in order. You almost like have the feeling like you're drawing a line graph, but it's not a line graph. It's a frequency polygon. Use your ruler and you connect the points in order. Now, when we just started our introduction to group data, I told you that the frequency polygon must start and end on the horizontal axis. That's what I told you. The distance between each point is actually the length of a class width. And the class width is 5. Remember the class midpoint values, they were going up by 5. That's these values here. So if they're going up by 5, the one that comes after 82 will be 87. And the one that comes before 52 would be 47. Now, the frequency polygon is going to open on the open or start on the horizontal axis, and it must also end on the horizontal axis. It's going to start one class width before the first class midpoint. So that would put it at 47. So if it's 47, it's going to start here. And it's going to end one class width after the last class midpoint. That would make it end at 87, which would make that point here. So the last thing now, connect them. Remember, your frequency polygon is going to start and end on the horizontal axis. Ladies, this is what your frequency polygon would look like. All right. I don't think that there's any more points to the anything more to the question. So this is what your frequency polygon would look like. On the vertical axis, we have the frequency, which in this case is the number of students. On the horizontal axis, we have the class midpoint, which is time in seconds. The frequency polygon must open and close on the horizontal axis.